So today on Stool Talk, we have with us two great pillars of the city of Toledo, two great men, two great people that I see doing tremendous things in this world and being able to be a helpmeet for the people because they have great servitude, because they're actually doing the work and they're actually seeing results out of the things that they do. We have with us Mr. Ant Garrett and Mr. Brian Hayward Sr. How y'all doing?
We're
All
good.
right, all right.
How about
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah. I'm doing good. And this today is brought to you by Rain Athletics, apparel for all the different sports, all the different things that you need as far as your sport comfort, fitness, light, so it ain't too heavy. So yeah, let's kick this off, fellas. We can start with you, Mr. Brian. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you grew up and what you got going on.
So a lot of people don't know my story, and a lot of people do know my story, right? Born and raised in Toledo, born on City Park, um, lived on Calumet, right? I lost my dad when I was 2. He didn't walk out my life or anything. He just died.
Yeah.
My mom, she raised us, up until I was 6 when she passed away. So my mom died when I was 6. Ended up going to live with my aunt and uncle in Wilmington, Delaware. He was a judge. She was a socialite.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I got a chance to see a world that I never had been privy to. I'm the youngest of 12. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine you have a 3-bedroom house and you got, 2 other people sleeping in the bed with you. You
Yeah.
know, I ended up going to Wilmington, Delaware, to this big house. I always say I was a Fresh Prince of Delaware before it was Fresh Prince of Bel Air. You know,
Yeah.
moving come to this big house, 3 stories. You know, you get up in the morning and you go to the bathroom, take a shower, brush your teeth, and all that. Come back, your bed made up. Like, who been in my room? Come to find out, we had a maid. You
Mm.
know, had the back stairs like the Cosbys. You go down the back stairs to the kitchen. The big kitchen and everything. We had a lot of family gatherings there. Um, uh, Introduced to a life that opened up my eyes to there's a better world that
Yeah.
you don't have to settle, if you will. We were one of the only Black families at the country club, taking trips. My aunt, she was I don't want to say a disciplinary. That was more so my uncle, but she cared about her reputation, and that taught me a lot as a child. Like, we had to make our beds up when we went to the hotels, and I'm like, they got room service, and you're not going to embarrass my name. So
Yeah.
that always carried with me about having the respect and pride of your last name, if you will. You
Yeah.
know, End up coming back after living with them for about a year. End up going into foster care. Um, Went through I call it a refining period of, like, almost like going through hell, if you will. Living out at mommy children's home, where I got to meet a lot of people that I call my brothers and sisters now. We knew we had to stick together as kids because we felt these adults did not care for us. You know, Even to this day, I still have a close relationship with one of my foster brothers, Mike Hiltman, who does a lot in the community. You know, um, Fast forward, end up living in 4 different foster homes. Last home I lived in was my sister's. Moved out when I was 16 because I got tired of getting whoopings,
Mm.
and I'm like, my own mama didn't whoop me, My mom said, I'll be doggone, somebody else gonna whoop me, and moved out when I was 16, man. You know, Life kicked my butt. I would tell anyone at the age, go through the struggles of being at home. At least you got a roof over your head. I didn't know which way to go. Thank God for my brother Duro. He passed away. He allowed me to come and live with him. Um, Went through the journeys of life. Struggled throughout that journey. Ended up giving my life to Christ. And saw a better way, if you will. Was homeless,
Mm.
once upon a time. Went through a lot of different scenarios, and I say, due to my poor decision making, as I look back. Um, as I was sharing earlier before we came on, I ended up getting a felony from child support, which I should never have. You probably hear a lot of people say that, but no, I should have never have gotten a felony. The system is a broken system, if you will, and I got caught up in it. Even though I showed them where I paid over $150,000 in child support, and I actually paid more than that, but they couldn't go back as far because they didn't have those records, and they still gave me a felony. And I just kept thinking to myself, I got to make a better way, not just for me, but for those that's come behind me, meaning my grandchildren especially. Looking at that legacy, if you will, that's my bloodline. And I said, I'll be doggone if they're going to struggle like I did. So, in the latter part of my life, I've been working my butt off to create an estate, a trust, so I could pass it down to them. Worked in selling cars, various jobs, and I ended up getting a job with a company called Kuzno Restoration. I call it the dirty side of insurance. We did renovations, went out and did demos, restored homes that caught on fire, things of that nature. And I was like, I've always been a person that wanted to sit behind a desk. I'm like, this job too dirty for me. I want to get a job selling life insurance, and God led me on this road, this path. Yeah. It was a time that I didn't know where to turn, but I knew I could turn to God. Yeah. I'm like, I need your help. I mean, I walked away from a lot of stuff that I was doing illegally. And I thank God that he protected me with his grace and mercy. I never caught a case, ended up in prison. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to live my life this way. What do you want me to do? As clearly as you hear my voice, he said, I want you to help my people. That's good. And that's when I seen the need for life insurance. And that's what got me into where I'm at today. I went to a couple of insurance agents. I said, hey, I want to put a form together. I'll bring the people. I just want you to come talk about life insurance. Our people are suffering because they're dying and don't have life insurance. Yeah. They didn't want to do it, and I was like, hey, I'll get the license myself. So here we are today. It's been a struggle. I went through some things. Legally, I can't share, but the very first agent I worked for, it was hell. But I refuse to give up, and I said I'm gonna persevere and believe in God and trust in God. And here I am today. I don't look at this as a job. I look at it as a passion and ministry, if you will. Every day I come to work. How can I help another person? Create an estate, help them with their insurance, help them understand how to better their lives and leave a legacy for their family. So I thank God for his grace and mercy that if it was not for him, there would be no Brian Hayward sitting in this seat that I'm sitting in, So I truly give all honor to him.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Ant?
So I grew up, man, born and raised in Toledo, raised by a single mom. My dad was around, but he wasn't around as far as, being an integral part of my life. If I needed him, he was there. But to teach me how to ride a bike, to teach me how to be a man aspect, he wasn't there. And we picked up on our relationship now as we done got older. But went to Nathan Hale, went to DeVoe, went to Central Public. I ain't gonna call it a Catholic school. It's Central Public High School to me. And people know what's up with that. End up finishing up at Bowser or whatever, man. Just wasn't focused. Didn't really have a lot of direction per se. It was just more like, go to school, make something out yourself. That was my mom's motto for me. Got into the party scene. I partied a lot. I kicked it. I'll probably be on the Freaknik documentary here coming up soon. Just party. But once again, no type of direction of where I was going in my life. My mom was like, hey, go to college. Didn't really do the college thing. So, I went just for the sake of, hey, my mom said go to college. So I went, dropped out. All right, get with my roommate. Hey, man, you need to go back to school. Go back to school again, drop out. Didn't like it. All right, now it's time for Freaknik. I'm in class taking notes, and my roommate paged me like, all right, man, it's time to go to Atlanta. I picked up my books and walked out of class, dropped out again. In short, man, I dropped out of college like 7 times. So kind of just making a way for myself. Went to UPS, worked there for 9.5 years. Then I made a transition to working at Toledo Correctional Institution. Did that for 16.5 years, and which brings me to my life of where I'm gonna go right now. So working there, man, it was more like, all right, man, pull up your pants, man, do this, man, you do what I say because I'm the CEO. towards the middle of my career, man, I got tired of seeing bruhs just coming back, man. We need to be fathers out here. We need to be activists. We need to help, man, our community or whatever, man. But a lot of bruhs kept coming back to the joint. So I transitioned my career from the pull up your pants to, hey, bro, how can I help you not come back? How can I help you be a better dad? How can I help you be a better pillar in your community? And that's where my questions and that's where my job went till the time that I left in June of 2020, man. So from there, I kind of catapult that into what I'm doing now. Like, I'm a certified life coach. So I got my certification online to be a life coach to help other people. And Brian and UD, y'all are life coaches, man. Anytime that you give somebody some type of advice, you just life coach somebody. Yeah. So I said, if I'm giving advice on marriage, because I've been married, I've been divorced, I'm remarried again, and I had kids, I had custody of my kids, I lost custody of my kids. I just decided to get certified in being a life coach or whatever, man. So I really want to pursue that as a full-time passion. But I've always been in law enforcement to help the youth, to help the Black youth or whatever, man, because Black men in law enforcement, we tend to get stereotyped a lot as being the police, and that's frowned upon in our communities. So I want to kind of change that narrative to say, okay, it's okay to be Black in law enforcement because I could turn around and help you out. I could get you out of a situation. I could get myself out of situations or any of y'all out of situations by just saying the right things. So with that, I use that as a tool to help young Black youth or anybody who needs to help try to navigate these streets, man, because it's hard. We don't have the tutelage. We don't have our men. All our men are, well, not all of our men, but most of our men are locked up and incarcerated. So we try to help them. If they're getting ready to go home, my job is to kind of, hey, man, you need these tools. You need to talk to this people. You need to talk to this people. Come holler at us, especially on the outside, and we'll probably pick you back on the Village 50 here a little bit later of what we did to help men just kind of get back on the up and up and remain positive and not do anything negative. So I took a move during the pandemic, my wife and I and my family, and we moved out to LA. And I'm looking to expand my life coaching, man, to bigger things or whatever. But I felt like, and no knock on my city because I love Toledo or whatever, but I felt like I needed to leave in order to kind of see my potential.
Yeah. One thing I heard from both of y'all, from y'all stories, was y'all seen a need or God put it in y'all spirit, whether y'all know it or not, to be able to serve and help the people. Brian, when I first met you, what came to mind is, I'm like, man, this guy is different. Like, he is telling us stuff that we shouldn't do. He acting like he caring. Cause I'm like, man, it's just something. You was different from all the people we was around on the block in the neighborhood. I never see you doing nothing crazy. It was always positive. It was always uplifting. I'm not gonna say challenge because it ain't no challenge, but some people probably would have took it as a challenge because you were giving advice and helpful knowledge, being an adult to some of the youth or younger people that we grew up who needed, who owned family wasn't. So I'm like, man, like he cared, and I just noticed when you would come around your spirit and just knew like you were different, and that's amazing. Being that y'all knew that, hey, I need to be helpful for my people, because like it's a lot of people that I even know they're dying, and you will get a message, man, we got to GoFundMe. Some people that's in my family, they ain't got insurance, so that is something that's needed. And even like you said, and going to the correctional facilities and seeing that these people really need help. They need somebody that cares, somebody that's, don't want nothing from them. Just like B, when you used to come on the block, you was there like helping us, motivating us, and I used to look up to you like, man, like it's something different. He ain't around asking for nothing. He don't need nothing, but he's pouring into us. That's what you were doing, even back then. So we'll start with you, B, then go to Ant. Where did y'all get that from, being how you guys grew up with not having somebody like that? Or did you see it like, one go after the other? Where did y'all get that from?
I think for me, having a lack of that, and I'll put this out there because a lot of people try to put a narrative on my name when it comes to fatherhood. I'll be the first to admit I made a lot of mistakes. But one thing you could never deny, take from me, I love my kids to the last breath of my body. I love my community. I love my city, and I'm a firm believer that instead of engaging or supporting hate, let's try love and be a difference maker. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to be without. So when I see people that don't have, I'm going to try and be a blessing if I have it, to do that. I mean, the Bible says, God said, you know, hey, when you knock on the door, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't know you because you didn't feed my people, you didn't shelter my people.
Yeah.
How much does that really cost? And I know, you know, it's scams out here, if you will, that people try to collect money, go do drugs and whatnot. So what I do now, I tell a person, get in the car. We go to the restaurant. You hungry? Come on. We go get something to eat. I won't give them the money, but I will take them to get something to eat, or I go get it and take it back to them. So, you know, with that being said, if we see a need, we should do the best that we can to help it. You know, whatever it may be. Put the phones down. I do want to say that. I hate when people are recording, like, look at what I'm doing. You know, I'm not going to say no names, but I remember Village 50, and we adopted a family, and I called a pastor. He said, bring them to the church. And I had the TVs there. I said, man, these people just came out of homeless shelter. They don't want to be plastered all on the news like that. You know, let's give them their privacy. People deserve to be helped with dignity without being exposed. And that's something that saddens me when I see people do that. You know, I have a saying, I want to be impactful, you know, not popular.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing stuff like that, you're doing it for kudos. So that is you tooting your horn. That is your blessing. You know, let other people toot your horn for you. You know, don't seek validation in the things that you do. Seek to do things with a pure heart. You know, that you're not looking for something to be given back to you. You know, I know what it's like to be without. And so if I see someone that's hungry or thirsty, heck, it's people that don't like me that I fed. You know, and I mean, that's biblical. And I said it before, I thank God for where I'm at. Has been my guiding principle and how I should live my life. You know, by those principles that God has said that we should live by. You know, love thy neighbor. Yeah. You know, we're to hate the sin, but not to hate the sinner. Yeah. You know, if you will. You know, I'm sorry, I'm about to start preaching, but you know, it's just when you see a need, I think we should step out there. You know, I hear people all say all the time, "It's not my problem." Yes, it is, because that could be your nephew, or your brother, your sister, your uncle, or whoever it may be. The next time. And God forbid you go, well, I need help now. But you didn't want to help that person when they was in need. You know? So, you know, I'm all about giving back. Even when I started my company, you know, this was a true prayer. I said, Lord, if you bless me and open this door for me, 10% will be set aside for the community. And I'm standing by that. You know, I am standing by that. I'm not where I want to be as far as where I think I should be concerning my business, but I know I will be there, that I'll be able to write checks without even having to think about it and give them to organizations that I know that's doing the work.
Yeah.
You know, so that, I mean, that's my ultimate goal. Like I said in the beginning, this is a ministry to me, you know. I don't have the title of pastor, but I think we're all ministers.
Yeah.
You know, we should be kind and loving towards one another. Not looking down on people and judging them because of where they may be. Because God could turn the situation around and have you standing in their shoes, and then you wonder, like, what happened? So I'm cautious of the things that I do and say, because any given time we could be entertaining angels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And where I picked up at, and I don't share this with a lot of people, but this is kind of where I got my outreach into like helping people and want to do more for the community and inside of the jail. You know what I mean? I kind of put myself at risk of losing my job because there's a level that you're supposed to be with the inmates and not go above it or go below it. You're supposed to be just at one level. It took my nephew to pass, and I'll just be quick and brief about the story or whatever. They were actually about to do tours within the prison. And my nephew, he wasn't really on the right path in life. And I felt like he needed some guidance. So I was going to bring him into a tour into the prison and have some of my guys in there kind of talk to him like, hey, man, get my nephew together. He kind of needs to see what this is or whatever, because within our community, like a lot of people, they cause a lot of trouble. But then when they go to prison, it's like a real big culture shock. And that's a whole nother topic that we could dig on. But he ended up getting locked up and I couldn't take him for the tour. I was going to buy him an outfit or whatever, make him dress nice or whatever. 2 weeks after that, man, he gets into a car accident and he passed away. So after he passes, I'm like, you know what? I wasn't able to save my nephew. Maybe I could save somebody else. So I took that turn to say, okay, all right, man, I need to save these youth out here, man. So I started coaching, I started volunteering, I started to do anything within the city to kind of use my voice within the prison. Like, okay, I worked in the prison. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to use my tutelage, and I'm going to bring it out here to tell people, all right, man, this ain't the way you want to go. You might want to change your path or whatever, because they're not building no new prisons in Ohio. Y'all are going to be bunched in there, packed up like sardines. So we need to get this thing together, man. We kind of need to get on the straight and narrow and just go. So the ironic part of like how me and Brian met, and I'll bring it all together or whatever, is that Brian's on the same path that I'm on. I'm on the same path that he's on. I'm on the same path that the people that who put me and Brian together and put like a big old village together. And the first thing that we did is that we went to TPS for a school board meeting. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who was on the board, but somebody pulled us aside, like, all right, man, who are y'all? Like, and it was like 30 of us deep or whatever, because now, all right, man, we all collective, man. We like 20, 30 deep, man. We all suited up. We all in shirt and ties and sport coats going to a TPS school board meeting. And I've never been to one, but we went to that meeting and we kind of made a message. And from there, it just kind of grew. So just like, you know, Brian said earlier, like, all right, man, we picked up on that homeless family who we sponsored, and we didn't want the notoriety. We was at Robertson Junior High making sure that the kids get safe to their house or get safe to the bus or safe to the school. That's a lot of stuff that we did that a lot of people didn't know about. We didn't need notoriety, but we just know from within our heart and our faith and what God put in us that we needed to help. So that's what put us here today.
Yeah, and just like in the Bible, it say like God leaves the 99 to go get that one, and which you guys' story is like, just if one person can be touched, if I can help one person, but that brings many other people. And just like what you saying about your business, Brian, God gonna bless you because he's seeing that you're faithful with the little. So if he see that he can trust you with the little, just imagine how much more that he's gonna be able to bless you, because God is love, and that's what you presenting is love to people with the God that's inside of you. And I think a lot of young youth that's out here today, they got like an identity crisis. Like they're seeing different stuff that's on social media, that's in the rap songs, in the different videos, and they're living their life like somebody who's not even living their life like that. So it's like a facade that they're getting. How would you guys define the concept of identity, and how do you think it's important for the youth today, and what can we do to change it?
It's all about marketing. You know what I mean? Like if you go out to the suburbs, you don't see Newport advertisements for cigarettes out in the suburbs. The commercials change. The way the stores are presented. Like you go in the hood or whatever, and the first thing you see is all types of flavors of Black and Milds. Just for example, like I say, it's small, but if you look at the bigger picture, you look at what's being presented to us. I go to a store out in Savannah or Maumee or something like that. You don't see that. You don't see the malt liquors and stuff like that in Savannah and Maumee. So it's like, what's being presented, it's the way things are marketed towards our youth. I mean, just the things that they put on TV, just the things that they market. You can't tell me that, and I mean, you know, people will be mad at this. You know what I mean? You can't tell me whoever Little Baby or the Baby or them little stink rappers or whatever are the best rappers out here. Not when I got Black Thought, or not when I got like Fonte or Little Brother behind us or whatever, rapping about something that's relevant. Like Killer Mike got an album out right now that's killing everything out here. Yeah. I don't know if you listen to it or other people listen to it.
I listened to it, but he kind of his beliefs, when I heard he was going all over the place. But his album, I heard about that.
But his album was fire. But somebody wouldn't listen to that because he ain't killed 50 Black people in his rap album. You get what I'm saying? So that's what our kids are had that genocide in our mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, man, he is my enemy, when all actuality, we need each other to kind of progress, man. So I think, honestly, man, it's just the marketing. And it's people like, you know, us three right here or whatever that's talking about it. They kind of just, all right, man, this ain't the way it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, we all come up from those bottoms, whatever. We done kind of made a little something out of ourselves. They need to see more people like us. And I don't think that they do.
Yeah.
I think, and I agree with Ant. You know, one of the biggest problems that I've seen is that once prayer was taken out of school, all hell broke loose. Mm-hmm. And then you started having people with their own ideology that wanted to change the narrative and how things were. That you know, I'm a 60s baby. We didn't see commercials that we see today because there was a moral code that was
Yeah.
abided by. Now it's like the gloves are off, everything is a free fall. You don't know what you might see on TV nowadays. You have people telling people that it's okay, and I want to be cautious and careful how I word it. The whole transformation
Yeah.
of the body, if you will, and then you have kids getting bullied because they think they're a certain way and whatnot. So then they get bullied. Then that becomes a problem. And then we have the suicide. You
Yeah.
know that correlates with that. I'm a firm believer. Morals and values start at home. We cannot wait for our children to get to school for them to be taught that. Because we don't really know who is teaching our children and
Yeah.
what values and morals they may have. So we need to ensure as parents need to, one, be more involved in their kids' lives, ensuring that they're being taught. My aunt, and I go back to my aunt again in Wilmington, Delaware. She taught me how to hold my knife and fork. I never knew that. She taught me how to cut my meat. You don't put your elbows on the table. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Things like that. So we need to teach those soft skills
Yeah.
to our children
Sure.
before they leave. And if we don't put those skills of morals and values in them when they get out in the streets or wherever they may go, then the street's going to put in them what's out there.
Yeah.
I was always scared because I played athletes to smoke weed, but five of my friends that I hung around with in high school, man, you gotta try. And I did it one time. I'm like, man, this stuff tastes like garbage, like booty. Like, this is what y'all smoking? Like, what's the hype? They had me go and we stole some stuff from 7-Eleven. Police come to my house. My sister said, I don't know why he stole anything. I just gave him $50. I'm 16. I got $50. That's a lot of money for a 16-year-old back then. But we out here, I'm hanging with the wrong people.
Yeah.
So the whole gender thing is more than a gender thing. It boils down to values, principles, and beliefs. If you look at the civil rights movement, now the LGBTQ has taken the civil rights movement and made it theirs and saying, hey, our rights are being violated. And I feel as though, and I'm not putting them down and talking about them, because I have friends in the LGBTQ community, but the civil rights movement was initially about the rights of the Black people that were being denied rights in a world that we were considered a second-class citizen. Now you have people that, even though we are not the most populous in people, but we are the most jailed. And I'm getting off topic a little bit. We're the most jailed, and I'm bringing it back. But if you look at the LGBTQ community, there was a lady just killed because of the flag that she had flying outside her store. So all in all, everyone, you have a right to believe in what you want to believe in, how you feel. I don't think it should be forced.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something, if they say prayer shouldn't be taught in school, then that's something you shouldn't be teaching in school either. I don't think that should be forced upon children that have no say-so or no true understanding of what's being taught, if you will. Let them choose that if they want to go that route.
Yeah, then they're trying to take, like you said, it's important for us to teach our kids at home, like even with Black history, because they're trying to take it in some states out of the curriculum and act like it didn't exist when that's a part of who we are, to see the greatness inside of us, to see that, hey, I come from this, or, I can do this. This person invented this person created that. But like you said, they're switching it. They're taking away this and adding this. And another thing you touched on, I was just talking to a lady that I work with, because she seen I was doing the different videos, and I have different mentees and just doing the stuff for the youth. And she was, she wanted me to pray for her because her daughter was going through the thing trying to choose whether to do this or that. And she was telling her daughter like a lot of stuff that you see even with people they're struggling with their mind, or they got low self-esteem. So it's that part that you not seeing, to just tell her the overall view, because you just see somebody on TV, you see somebody posting, you seeing this one part, but you need to have full understanding of it, like you said. Next thing, what does an effective mentor look like to you guys, and how can effective mentor be able to instill great values into his mentee?
I say that kind of leading by example. Earlier, when I touched on, telling you a little bit about myself, I dropped out of college 7 times, but then last month I just completed my master's degree. I did all my education in my 40s. I got my associates, I got my bachelor's, and just completed the master's last month. Just being that example. And you gotta drive it home, because, just like you said, when our kids leave the house, it's a million people telling the kids, hey, this is the way, you should do this, you should do that. Then when they come back home, well, Dad, I heard this from somebody else. So you gotta drive it home. And, just like you said earlier, man, we could talk to 99 people, but the goal is to hit one. Of course, we want to hit the people that's in our homes or whatever, but just driving it home, man, just being that beacon of example. And I feel that's this kind of the best way to be as far as a mentor, is being that example. Like I'm not going to tell my kid or anybody else to do something that I haven't done myself. If they dropping out of school, okay, all right, man, you could drop out, but go back because I did it. You know what I mean? Hey, go get your master's degree because I feel like it's going to pay off. If it don't pay off for you, then hey, at least you tried. You know what I mean? At least you went and took those steps to do it. If you don't so happen to go to school because school don't work out for everybody, I don't even know if it's going to work out for me. I just did it because I felt like it's something I needed to do. Take a trade, do something. But just being that beacon of a great example tends to help for me when I mentor others.
For me, and I'm gonna say this: integrity.
For sure.
Integrity. A mentor should be a person that should be their foundation. Because let's be real, we have a lot of people out here that don't walk on the straight and narrow when it comes to the nonprofit mentorship world, and it's sad because you take advantage of these families or the children just to get the money. A mentor should be a person that, as Anthony said, walk, not just talk it, but be able to walk it, and have proven results. They should be able to come into that person's life and help them elevate, and show them a better way. I've had people call me, bro, man, can you get back in the game? Bro, no, I'll be lying to these kids about doing what is right. Yeah. I don't care how good the money is. So that's where that integrity piece comes in. A mentor should be able to do something really without asking for something, because you're supposed to be a blessing to, if it's adults that you're working with. I know you get paid for it, but I'm just saying, when you really are doing it with a passion and not for profit, it's going to show. Because no matter if the money gets low, your heart is still going to be in it. But if you're doing it for the money, then you're going to walk away. I've seen a ton of people do that. Now you got these kids that's looking for love and consistency that's no longer there because you made some promises to them, but you dropped them because you're not getting a check for them now. And that's not cool. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So a mentor should own up to what they say, honor what they do, and keep integrity in the forefront at all times. If we had solid mentors, and we do have a lot, and Keith Jordan and I had a conversation a long time ago. I said, man, imagine if we all came together. It'd be like the Avengers. Yeah, we're strong individually, but how much stronger could we be collectively? But no one wants to come to the table and work with each other because everybody wants their own piece of the pie. Yeah. But we came together collectively as a unit, as a culture. we could make a big difference in these kids' lives, you know, especially pooling resources. If you don't have enough money in your program, I might have, you know, extra, you know, cash in my program. I'm like, hey, D, here goes some money, man, you know, to help you out. You know, and it's about working together, man. It's so much competition instead of co-opetition, you know, and working together. And there shouldn't be any competition because lives are truly at stake, physically and spiritually. If you look at the numbers, it's been more African-American kids, children, and women and men killed at the hands of another person that looked like them than the Civil Rights War. Pretty much all the wars up until Desert Storm. The Klan can't do anything of what they've done to us compared to what we've done to our own self. It's self-genocide. So we need more people out here being mentors, you know, telling these young kids. And as we see, the shooters are getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, for sure.
They have no remorse. They have no remorse. So those are the ones we need to reach. You know, going into those communities and not being afraid. You know, I mean, Jesus was never afraid to go in those type of communities. That's what he hung with.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to have that type of spirit of not being afraid. If we're gonna be a mentor, then be that. You know, step up to the plate.
Yeah. What you about to say?
And I want to piggyback off Brian, what he said, and this is no knock on my city. Once again, I love Toledo, man. I'm 419 till I die or whatever, man. But I think the small town mentality kind of keeps everybody down. It's a big ego of, all right, man, I got to do this on my own. I don't want to come together with him because I don't like him or some odd reason. I think if everybody came together within the city, and I see this now that I'm gone, that, man, if we just work together, man, all right, put the money aside, put the egos aside, man, and let's really do the work, man, we could be much greater. But just like Brian said, man, it's this, it's that, it's a whole bunch of barriers that stop people. And I think it's just a small town mentality. But it took me to see that. It took me to leave in order to kind of see that. Now I look back at home and I'm like, for real? That's how you really feel? That's how you felt? Like, we got to come together, man. Like I say, we in this together, man. And at the end of the day, man, we losing our youth just because of ego. I think we could save a lot more youth, man. We put our egos aside.
So what steps do we need to take or can be taken being consistent? I know you got to be consistent because it's not going to be easy, but what steps can be taken for that togetherness mentality could come about in the city? Because it got to be an effort. It got to be somebody trying, because if we don't, they just going to keep doing it. So how does that look in the support of that, or even trying to get them to change their mentality?
Man, this has been going on for hundreds of years, man. I don't. That's, you know what? I usually answer every question that's asked. This is a tough one because, once again, I've been around for 47 years and I still see it to this day. This has been a generational thing that's going to continue to haunt us until somebody say stop. Until we could put our collective heads together, put our egos aside, put the arrogance aside, put money aside, and just look, man, we need to sit down. Because just as many things that got started within the city, quickly somebody get an ego, somebody get a big head, somebody get an idea outside of the group and want to kind of do their own thing, and then it breaks up, and now we're back at point A. It's generational, man. It's generational. It's hard. I don't know. Brian a little bit older than me. Maybe he could tap in on this one, but I don't have an answer for it, honestly.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna say this. I grew up in time Black Panthers, so I have a little bit of spirit of being a rebel and rousing people. I think a person should speak their truth, whether if it fill up the room or clear the room. And I've always tried to stand on my truth, on what I know is right. The church needs to rightfully take its place back at the forefront of our community.
Yeah.
We are the number one consumer. We spend over $1 trillion a year. $1 trillion a year. Malcolm X said it best. We are not outmanned. He said outgunned. You know, I don't want to say outgunned. We're not outwitted. We're just not unified and organized.
Yeah.
We seen what happened in Montgomery when them people came together to help the one brother. You know, it will take a fivefold effort. Again, it starts with home. It starts with home. You know, I commend Jeffrey Canada in New York. He has a Harlem Children's Zone. He took over that program and started in 1989, and he went block by block. And one of the things that he said that he did, he put out there to help the families. He said, if the parents don't have a high school diploma, we're going to help them get back in school so they can get a GED, so they can understand the importance of education. Anthony is right. We need to make sure that our children are being educated, that they understand social economics and the power of their dollar. They understand their voice invoked and how powerful that is. We can complain about a lot of things all day, but until we start changing our own situation around and making a difference within our own community, because communities I grew up in, you know, I lived on Tecumseh, beautiful community, beautiful neighborhood. And then once we started getting money, we started moving to the suburbs. So now you're taking those tax dollars out of the central city, and that money is not being able to be used to repave the streets, to beautify the neighborhoods, things of that nature. We have to have a pride about where we live, you know, from keeping the grass cut to keeping your house together. You know, we have to have a unified front, but we have this stigma that has been imputed in us from the beginning of time, if you will, to hate each other. That's to keep us divided. I don't care what nobody say. People say, hey, you need to forget about slavery. No, y'all had 400 years of a jumpstart socially and economically against us. We're still trying to play the rat race of catching up from redistricting to redlining, you know, all of that. The Baines-Oxley Act was passed in 1978 because they said, hey, if you're in a underserved community, you have to provide loans to them. But now we see banks are pulling up roots and moving out of the central city. Why don't we start our own banks? We have more than enough money. We're the number one consumer of Mercedes-Benz, clothes, and liquor.
Damn.
Number one consumer of those three products, Mercedes-Benz, clothes, and liquor. That's not getting us anywhere. The chain that we must break is not having the knowledge. For lack of knowledge, we shall perish.
Amen.
You know, and Anthony said it, education, education, education. I didn't go to college, but you best better believe I pick up books and read them. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Grow Rich, you know, the habits of the successful millionaires. You know, if you look at a lot of billionaires in this world, they went to college, but they dropped out. But they craft their skill.
Yeah.
You know, and utilize that. We have to quit being scared to help one another. That's another thing. Since I became an insurance agent, I tell everyone, like, hey, this is a great career. I will help you. No one wants to do it. We have to look back. You know, I was taught, if you make it, look back and pull somebody else with you.
Yeah.
You know, but we got a mentality that I'm not going to work with you. I'm not going to support you, you know, and that's killing us. That's killing our community. The psychological indifferences that we have, we dislike somebody because somebody else dislikes somebody, or we look at a person and man, I don't like the way you looked at me. So now you want to fight the brother or sister. You know, that's ignorant ghetto mentality to me.
Yeah.
Instead, I go back to love. We got to love ourselves first. How can we hold the police accountable if we're killing ourselves? I'm not saying what the police do is right.
Right.
Because they took an oath and were sworn to protect and serve. But how can we demand something of someone if we're not doing it in our own house?
Right.
You can't complain about how your neighborhood look. I hear so many people say, this is my block. Well, Negro, clean it up. Take some of that money and reinvest it. Get your houses painted. You know, we can't keep blaming the white man, as they say, for our problems that we create ourselves.
Yeah.
You're not going to go in no Italian community. You're not going to go in no Chinese community, no Jewish community, and they selling drugs. We have a right to say, no, we don't want this in our community. We have more we have more liquor stores within our community than any other culture. We are quick to support other cultures when we don't support our own.
Right.
We had, from the Chinese hair, the beauty salon stores, the other stores. I mean, I've never seen so many different cultures frying chicken. And I'm like, man, like, how did this happen?
Right.
You know? But I mean, I remember growing up, you know, Anthony said I'm older. I remember when those Junction was all black owned businesses. Lerona Dre's dad had the ambulance service. He had the tow company right there on Monroe in Detroit. There were clothing stores, all that. You know, if you go back and look at Black Wall Street, the dollar circulated 36 times before it left the community. That's how they were established an economic power. If the Black Wall Street was in effect right now, that community worth well over $1 billion some. So imagine if we truly supported one another. Yes, racism is real, but one thing I said, I refuse to let it stop me, even in this day and age. And my comments are my personal own. They're not a reflection of the company that I'm tied to. I want to make sure that's clear. But I've said in my office been called a nigga. You know? And I'm like, hey, you're entitled to your opinion, but I don't need your business. If that's how you think we're going to conduct business. Respect me as a human being, I respect you. You know? And it's just that we can't keep allowing the same thing. And there are vices in place, the social economics, you know, prisoner pipeline. The new slavery is in prison. They're using those prisoners to build things, work for corporations in the prison. And when they can't get out, they can't go work for them because they got a felony. How does that work? Wait a minute. They were working for you in the prison, but now they can't get a job with you because they got a felony? We need to have representation. And people think voting doesn't make a difference. And I tell people all the time when they were complaining about the riots and the protests and stuff, well, hey, what do you think the Boston Tea Party was? That was a riot when they dumped the tea because they were protesting England about the taxes. When the colonies said, hey, we want representation without taxation. Ain't gonna be no taxation without representation. So now that we're kind of saying the same thing, we want the rights. We have to stand up and voice our opinion. I commend those two young brothers that's down in Tennessee and Kentucky that they tried to oust out of the, I believe it was Tennessee. They tried to oust out of it was Kentucky?
It was Tennessee.
Tennessee. They tried to oust out of the state house because they standing up for rights. You know, as you see, laws are not passed for us. Because when you get sentenced, you're getting more drug time. If you look at the truth in sentencing laws and you look at the crack cocaine era, you can have 100 grams of cocaine and 100 grams of crack. If you had crack cocaine, you got more time. You know, if you get jammed up, you're more likely to sit in jail until your sentencing because you don't have the bond money to get out. Mm-hmm. So we have to be more wise in how we conduct ourselves. We have to quit glamorizing our lives based off what the rappers say and spending all this excess money on frivolous things is not going to create legacies for us.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say again, 1 plus trillion dollars. Man, that's more than most countries' budget.
Yeah.
You know, and we think, oh, man, let them live. But if you're constantly doing dumb stuff and you're putting yourself in a situation that's not going to better your life, something has to click. And if we could start from house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, there was a time, okay, man, you know, somebody needed sugar, man, you go give them sugar, whatever, or some potato. I remember, hey, go next door and get a couple potatoes from Miss So-and-so. Mm-hmm. You know, that was a neighborhood. Now it's a hood.
Yeah. Because
we don't have that community love anymore. You know, we could get whooped on the way home. And by the time you got home, you got another whooping. You know? Parents didn't play back then. Now the parents trying to be friends with with their kids. Man, not me. Not me. If you do not have that line drawn where I love you, I'll joke with you, but don't cross that line where you know where it's at. You have a problem. You see kids putting their hands on their parents now. Yeah. Man, that stuff like that didn't happen. I got whooped with extension cords, everything. It didn't kill me. For real, it didn't kill me. I'm like, man, I told you I moved out when I was 16 because I got tired of getting whoopings. But it didn't kill me though. But it made me think twice. I remember cutting up at the Vilbis. My uncle came up there and knocked me out the chair. He looked at the dean. He said, "You ain't gonna have no more problems." I'm laying on the floor. He ain't looking at my uncle, looking at me. He's like, man, wasn't nobody calling the police back then?
All right.
We handled our own, if you will. I don't believe in child abuse and nothing like that. That's not what I'm advocating, because people will be like, "Oh, you know child?" No, no, man, shoot. We know what the welt marks was around our legs, and that belt wrapped around like shoes or whatever. But you better believe you thought twice about acting up.
Yeah.
Just one quick piggyback, and I know you want to check the topic, whatever, man. I think we got power in our money. And I've shared this topic with somebody else that if 1 million Black people bought firearms legally, you'll get some gun control. The minute that we start spending our money where it needs to be spent, then people will take us serious as a whole. So if 1 million to 5 million Black people bought guns legally, we'll get some gun control. We already seen what happened with the Mulford Act here in California with the Black Panthers when they went up to the state capitol with their guns or whatever. Man, they put a law in place the next day. So our power is within our money, and people tend to respect that, man. Yeah, for real. Our money is power.
What initiative or program can we use to or get started to start putting money back in the neighborhoods and doing the things like you speaking of right now, as far as our people having meetings, like to give them educated, because you got to be educated as well. What can we start doing to push that forward before we can start doing things like that?
Well, for me, I'm not in the city, man. I still help out a lot of people. People still kind of reach out to me three hours away, asking, "Hey, who can I talk to?" I refer people to Brian, and Brian then does the work as far as the insurance. One thing I've been laughing about with Brian is that, I know if you just saw the other day, man, the Cadillac got jacked with the tires.
Yeah, Brian, I've seen that.
Brian done turned that to an advertisement for insurance. That is. Yeah, that's crafty.
I like that.
That is crafty marketing right there. Where, all right, man, look, you need some insurance. If Taylor Cadillac could get jacked, just imagine what could happen to you. You get what I'm saying? So Brian to turn that to like a catapult to help him out. In turn, it helps him out. And just like you say, all right, man, he may not get 10% to the church. That's fine. But your 10% is going to a community, man, that might give away some book bags, or that may give away some food for the homeless, or food for a needy family or something like that. So it's just kind of just giving back and just being that voice. If we could hit one family or one person, I feel like we're doing our job. So anybody that calls me, I'm still connected to the city. I'm out here in California, still connected, where it's to call me, "Hey man, I can work here, I can work there, or I can tell you where to go," or something like that. So I'm gone, but I'm not removed. And like I say, people like Brian, who has his own independent insurance company or whatever, I know he's doing the work. He don't even have to say nothing, but I know to send people, or I'm sending people to Brian because I know he's going to put in that work. Even though we're still not together as a group, or we're not even together within the city, I know I can still call Brian and be like, "Hey, somebody needs this." Or I'm calling somebody, "Hey man, go holler at Brian." And he's going to take care of that. And I don't have to.
Oh, he done faded out. Here he come.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Brian, that took all the time.
Hey, no, I was gonna say, man, you must got you must don't have Buckeye cable.
Nah.
What you were saying, though?
No, I was just saying, I'm removed from the city, man. I'm still connected, man. So I still pour into the city. I still send referrals to people who need it or whatever, man. So just kind of just pouring in. Like I said, I'm not there, but I still help out and send my voice and lend my voice and network with people and send people the right way.
Yeah. Last thing before I get y'all up out of here, can each one of y'all individually give some advice to the youth and just some positive encouragement and just some stuff that will be help them for when they watch this or when they see this, they can see something and get something, positive encouragement, something that they can use.
Brian, I'll let you start it off, man. I know you got a lot.
Well, one for me, man, it's the passion in me, man.
For sure, for sure.
I'll say this, and this hurts my heart when I see it. One, honor your mother and father.
Yeah.
Honor your mother and father. We see so many kids that disrespect their kids. Believe in your heart that you can achieve anything that you choose to set your mind upon. Don't give up. The road's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough, but you can't give up. 3, save your money.
Yeah. If
you can save your money and set yourself up with a foundation in your 20s, your latter years will be great. Be open-minded and willing to learn and listen. Don't be so closed-minded and be ready to be combative because you see that's what everyone else is doing. The fourth thing I would say, respect yourself. We see a lot of people young children today that don't really respect themselves, and you don't have to follow the crowd. It's okay to walk alone, stand on your integrity and beliefs, and at the end of the day, keep God first. Yeah. By doing so, he will guide and direct your path and take you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I could sum it up, man, and just a quick statement, man, and the youth can listen to this and kind of dissect it how they want to, and it'll all come together at the end once you put it together and start thinking, man. What's corny to you may be life for others. In a nutshell, basically, I get the same results as the dope boy down the street get. I got a nice car. I got a little bit of money in my pocket. I get the same amount of girls. I'm married, but I'm just speaking in general. Oh, man, well, I see this guy. He got this car. He got all the flashy clothes. You could do that being corny. You could do that going the square route. It's nothing wrong with going the square route because you're going to still get the same results as dude. You may live a little bit longer and you may not go to jail, but you're going to still get the same path for that. So when we need to, a lot of people, oh, man, that's corny as hell. Like I do a lot of stuff. And piggyback, I went to Seattle and I threw fish at Pike Place Market. Now, some people are like, oh, man, that's corny as hell, man. You go to Seattle and threw fish. But that's been on my bucket list for my life.
Yeah.
That's life for me. It may be corny to you, but it's life for me. And we just got to kind of see it from a different life, man. Those people that you call corny are actually living life. The people that you consider are big wigs, man, they on their way to jail or they dead. Mm-hmm. And I say that from a prison perspective or whatever, man. So we just kind of have to just shed the light on, okay, man, what you think is lame and cool. I don't have no problem at 47 years old sitting in the house. I don't have to be out in the streets. I've been there, done that already. And it's nothing come from it but jail or death. So Amen. Just kind of just driving that home to the kids. And just like Brian said, man, respect the parents, man. Pray. Hulk Hogan say your prayers and eat your vitamins. Man, do all of that. You know what I mean? But we also need to kind of see it from a different life of people who've been there or who's on that verge of kind of going the street route and didn't and still get the same results at the end of the day, man. I just remember just going to the clubs and your corny cats on one side of the club and your hardcore cats on the side of the club. And at the end of the night, man, we getting the same results at the end of the day, man. It's just who you want to look at. I wasn't jail material, so I made sure I didn't go.
Yeah. You know better, you do better.
Yeah. For sure.
I want to say this one thing because Anthony's been an inspiration. And I've told him, for that brother to go back to school in his 40s,
man,
and get his master's degree.
Yeah.
It's a lot of motivational speakers that I hear that always say it's never too late to rebrand or reinvent yourself. You only fail if you stop. And I want to commend you, brother, because you're a beacon light for people that may lose hope, may want to drop out of college, may drop out of whatever. They may want to drop out of life.
Yeah.
And you being an inspiration, man, and I commend you, on the journey that you've taken, moving thousands of miles away and starting over. That takes a leap of faith, and people see that they should get inspired by that. So I just want to say I commend you, man, from one brother to another brother.
Appreciate it.
Do that.
Yeah, man. So it's been great, man. I want y'all to keep continuing doing the work, keep continuing to have that servitude, that heart after God, pouring into your communities, pouring into young black men who need it, and just making sure that y'all are a need, because there's people out there that have things that they need that they don't know or they don't have the resources to do. So y'all keep being that beacon of light to those in need. And with prayer, where two or three are gathering in His name, He's in the midst. So we keep praying and we keep on doing our parts individually and collectively. And we'll start getting some results, because we only can do what we can do. God's will, but He'll lead us to those people that really need us, and He'll draw us close to the people that we need to give God to, for He can change their life, and in doing that, God gets the glory.
For sure. So
it's been great. I appreciate y'all, and I'll be in touch with y'all.
All right, no doubt, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, AG.
All right, man. I'll